We've done LA. We've done New York. Now we're going to focus on Kentucky.
Random, but the question is, why Kentucky? Find out right now on Movie Mount Rushmore.
Hey, screeners, how you doing? It's me, the one AJ, Anthony Jordan.
And me, Nico Lero, and we are not alone. Sound off and introduce yourself, please.
Hello, I'm Pollyanna. Pollyanna Amazing. I am the host of Buried Pleasures podcast. And what we deal with at Buried Pleasures is pleasure. That's what we're about.
I like it a lot. As Jim Carrey would say. I'm a big fan of your show, Pollyanna, and thank you for joining us here on Movie Mount Rushmore. Really appreciate it.
It's an absolute pleasure to finally align planets and get here with you guys. So thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it. And I can't wait to talk about movies in Kentucky.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for coming on. It's always a pleasure to have a guest. And as Nico said at the beginning, random though it was, it's been an eye-opening experience, and that's what I love about having these challenges thrown at us. I was like, when he first said it, I was like, what? Kentucky? What film? But hey, someone knew, someone didn't, and it's been a great journey.
Fantastic.
It has. It was a very, very cool topic. And yeah, Pollyanna and I were really struggling on Twitter. Like, okay, so we know we're going to do this. What do we talk about? And you, like a light bulb flash of lightning moment, came up with this. And I was like, well, we've definitely never done that before. So let's do this.
I can't imagine. It's a very hot topic, but strangely enough, it's pretty intriguing, the things that I found. So I'm excited. I'm really excited about it.
Dude, for the audience that we have, and shout out especially to our Twitter homies, people like Gavin Mann, people like Andy Hart, people like Mixed Memorabilia, Chris Trengove, these really nerdy, hardcore movie fans. Obviously, your Pedros, your Franks, your Augustes, your Ibrahims. There's loads of people I'm forgetting. You know who you are. I love you all. But there's our audience, Pollyanna, is mega nerdy. So this is going to be, and it's very, very hard to like pick a topic that they're like, oh, well, I've seen all of these movies. It's like, well, I bet you haven't listed them like this.
Right. And, the funny thing about Kentucky is a lot of people just equate Kentucky with horses or rural,
chicken,
farm areas. Oh, chicken. Yeah, I guess I get that. Kentucky Fried Chicken. Yeah. So Kentucky's full of a lot of amazing things. And it's really, sometimes it's a shock to see how Kentucky is portrayed in the movies. So, it's definitely not the metropolis that New York or LA is, right? That's just it.
Definitely. Listen, I'll tell you this. With the movies we've got, there's definitely usually when we have movies that just pile up, we end up doing another and yet another. So it's like top 10 movies set in LA, another top 10 movies set in LA, and yet another top 10 movies set in LA. It ends up being like a 2 or 3-parter. We could do a 2-parter on this without breaking much sweat.
Yeah, that was the mystery of it, because again, you always know a film, even without having been there. It's an LA movie. It's a New York movie. This, once you start to open the box, you're like, wow, there's that. From the ones that you recognize, you're like, okay, so that was shot in Kentucky. You will hear them later on, guys. To others where you're like, that sounds like a really interesting movie. I need more. So this will definitely be revisited for sure.
I'm excited to see what you guys have put together for your list. I'm super excited to see, because again, it's me being from the States and you not is it's different. Even the things that you see on regular television. So we see the stuff from the United States here. You see the stuff on the BBC over there, whatever. It's just a really cool way to connect. Really, honestly, over a topic, which is how I like to talk to people, because the pleasure in introducing yourself to somebody and learning about them is that how we learn to relate and then a relationship, right? So that's the cool thing about it. So taking obscure topics such as movies from Kentucky and turning them into this is fantastic.
Yes.
I'm going to say
Agreed.
fantastic a lot tonight.
Fantastic. I love that.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. AJ, shall we get into it then, mon ami?
We shall. But before we do, would you like to tell everyone what the Movie Mount Rushmore is all about?
Yes, basically, it's a top 10 show between two best friends from school. We've been friends a while now, haven't we? Wow.
It's not a bad thing, but yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you can go. I've had enough of you. It's not a bad thing. It's a very good thing.
I'm sorry, AJ. Yeah. I'm just going to slide into this position, and no.
I knew something was plotting with this. Go with a random topic I don't know. Get rid of me.
Sorry.
Behave. Never. It's a top 10 show between two best friends from school. If it's your first time listening, here's how the show works. And it works exactly the same when we have a guest. The only difference when we have a guest is that AJ and I have combined our lists beforehand, so you still have two lists, and this doesn't turn into a 4-hour marathon. But in principle, here's how the show works. AJ and I go our separate ways. We create our top 10 lists, and we come right back here into recording, to our live stream, to our podcast, and deliver to you, the Film Familia, our individual top 10s. This week, as it's AJ and I on one team, and the amazing Pollyanna from Buried Pleasures on the other, we will go first, delivering our bottom 3. Pollyanna will then deliver her bottom 3. We will then deliver our next 2. Pollyanna will deliver her next 2. And then when we get to our top 5, we will trade one apiece. If at any time while we are rounding off our individual top 10 lists, one person has a movie in a higher position, that person will say,
punt.
And we will punt and talk about that movie when we get to the higher position. Once we have both rounded off all of our individual top 10 lists, we will create the Movie Mount Rushmore. These are the 4 quintessential diverse must-see movies of the genre, which this week is...
Top 10 movies filmed in Kentucky. Now, do we have the other topic? Are we doing that? Are we leaving it? Okay, right. So what happens after we, the Silver Screen Dudes, create the 4 must-see movies of a specific category? It goes over to you, where it gets even harder, because it's over to you guys to crown El Capitan, El Numero Uno, the best of the best with honors, sir. And to quote Highlander, in the end, there can be only one. And last week, our topic was...
the worst movies with a good actor.
And our contenders were...
The Island of Dr. Moreau with Marlon Brando, Jack and Jill with Al Pacino, Cats with Ian McKellen, and Assassin's Creed with Michael Fassbender. 3,172 people contributed to this. This has between the 4th place and the top place, less than 20% separating all of them. So it's quite tight.
Right. I'm going to go with the fact that most Pacino fans would not have dared watch this film because they didn't know he was in it. So I'm going to go with Jack and Jill in 4th place, just because they're not familiar with how bad it is. Okay. No. Oh, dear. Dr. Moreau?
Nah.
Oh, this is a bad week for me. I was all over it last week.
You were
going with
Cats? Sweet last week.
Are we going with Cats?
No, it's 3 strikes and you're out, my friend.
Okay.
Assassin's Creed with Michael Fassbender got 16% and was therefore considered the least bad.
Yeah, it's the worst
audience
video game film I've seen. Okay, right. In at number 3, Jack and Jill.
No.
Oh, this is a terrible week for me. Island of Dr. Moreau.
Yes. Island of Dr. Moreau came in at number 3 with 22%. Some people actually defended this, to which I say, have you watched it? There is no defending this movie. Someone threw shades at us earlier on the YouTube channel and called us Beyonce haters because of the provocative thumbnail that I made. to which I said, have you watched the video? We were on Beyonce's side. But anyway.
We literally said exactly what they were saying. It's just the schedule. But hey, okay. Yeah, I warn people, do not mess with Queen Bee. Anyway, that's not the topic. The topic right now is Cats versus Jack and Jill. Is there anything worse than Cats? I believe not. So for that, I'm going to try it one last time. Jack and Jill in 2nd place.
There you go. Jack and Jill came in at 2nd. 30%. Cats took the win with 32%. Someone was very funny on Twitter and said, but that's got Idris Elba. That's the actor you should have mentioned. I said, no, good actor. Not bad movie with bad actor. Good actor. Oh, Pollyanna likes it. Let's talk. We're going to have some fun.
He's not a bad actor. He's a TV star.
I'm going to say he can do or say anything he would like and be. He could be an astronaut. He could be the gardener. I don't care. Just stand there and look pretty. That's what I say. Okay.
He's a good
wonderful.
Cat, no doubt.
It's his voice for me. I like, please narrate everything that you possibly can put out. I will listen to all of it and I will curl up and just purr like a cat. And I don't even really like cats, just saying.
Well, neither did the public, because that was number one. But puns aside, what I would say to you is just YouTube Idris Elba Sky adverts, because he's been doing those for years. You'll be hearing his voice forever on that.
Booking.com, he also likes to do those. Idris Elba in the UK, well, people in the UK love him, but the funny thing is that whenever you say, you see him as a big star, a big movie star, they're like, yeah. Cool, what have you seen him in that you love? Oh, he was great in Luther. TV. Oh, what about The Wire? TV. Oh, what about Netflix? Streaming. I'm like, where's the movie star? He's a TV star.
Great Idris Elba movie. I put it out there.
It doesn't exist.
How about we agree to call him a wonderful entertainer and leave it at that? Not a movie star, not necessarily, because you have like Superman, whatever is coming out, right? Like, who knows?
Idris is in Superman.
I mean, like, he could be Superman. He could be. Just saying.
No, Superman. No, anyway, it's fine.
Just saying. He could be anybody. He could be anybody. He's
Buried
gorgeous.
Buried Pleasures next is going to be literally fantasy booking actors in certain roles.
Listen, I know I have a lot of friends who are, erotica, like, they do. That's what they do. They read erotica and they make lots of money doing so. So like, if your voice is on key, then you should. Like, I would definitely listen to erotica read by
Idris.
I'm sorry, like, not to, Americanize what I'm about to say, but anybody that has a wonderful British accent, and if I don't have to see your face necessarily, I can listen. It's just a thing. That's just one of those, like my Southern accent versus a British accent versus any other accent.
I know that to be true. I don't know if I would call it pleasure, but I had the experience of going to Gainesville, Florida, a year and a half or 2 years ago.
I bet you were popular.
My God.
Right.
Oh my God, you ain't from around here. I love your accent. I was like, wow, it's true. The stories, it's like Harrison Ford in The Force Awakens. The stories, they're true, all of them.
I was picturing that guy in Love Actually, Yeah, they just fall in love with the British accent. So
I'm sorry that you guys are just charming. Not even if I've never seen your face, you're lovely on screen. By the way, I don't want to take that away from you, but the voice is perfect, and I'll just be over here waiting for my turn.
Bottle.
Glass.
Table.
You think that lady on TikTok with the fruit that she puts the coffee and the caramel, that you could do that all day.
All right, AJ, you are up first, my man. But before you do, I made something for Pollyanna's guest appearance. She's got her own background. Bang.
Love it. Awesome. All kinds of awesome. Right.
Thank you.
Pollyanna, what you did mention is that what Kentucky is very famous for is the Kentucky Derby. And in at number 10 is something that reflects that for us, because in at number 10 for us is Seabiscuit.
Punt or no punt?
No punt.
No punt. Is it on your list at all? Is it in your bottom three?
Is it in my bottom three?
Yes.
Yes.
This is where you say, what position did you have it in?
I had it in position 9.
Number 9.
There we go.
Coolio.
Yeah.
So not too far different. I'm going to be honest. I was kind of shocked at how good this film was. So this was post Spider-Man. So all I'd ever known Tobey Maguire to be was Spider-Man. And then I found out about who he was from Molly's Game. And I didn't think I'd really support a film from him after. And I'll be honest, I didn't know it was horse racing. I just saw Tobey Maguire on a horse. And I was like, this is a poor career choice with Spider-Man. I just did not expect something. It was just terrible. But then when this topic came up, Seabiscuit came up a lot. It was this and Secretariat as two films that really came up in terms of like horse racing and everything. This one just edged it for me. And I was actually really shocked at how, what a great story to be told of it. The coming together of so many different people, and it's essentially just having a second chance in life is what I would break it down to. And it really, I don't want to keep saying the word shocked, but I actually regretted not seeing it earlier, I think is the key element to it. The story of a guy who's very gifted with horses, who had a natural talent from a young age, another one who just seems to connect with animals and believes in giving them a chance, and a man who lost it all, and he had it all, should I say, and once he lost his son, has stayed away from motors and going into the world of horse racing, and the three of them just coming together to build this story. I was pleasantly surprised. I really enjoyed it. I actually really enjoyed this film.
I cannot comment. I have not seen it. Pollyanna, anything you'd like to add as it's on your list?
It is absolutely. It's number 9 on my list. And one of the things about Kentucky is its rich horse racing history. So that is something that if you grew up as a farm kid,
Yeah.
like one of the greatest things to get to do is to go to the horse races. First off, number 1, because it's always with an older male in your family, because by the way, it's not good to gamble when you're when you go to church. It's not allowed to be. So it's kind of like a sneaky day out if you go when you're younger, because you have to go, on the down low. But just to see the pageantry, the beauty of horses, the beauty of the grounds, like if you've never been to Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky, I suggest you go highly, because it's amazing. It's beautiful. The fanfare alone. And you want to talk about some rich folks. Fantastic. I've met more famous people at horse races than anywhere that I've ever gone. So, but the movie Seabiscuit is fantastic. And again, it's one of those things, even though the story is about this young man and this horse, you can apply the lessons in this movie to any situation. It's the whole getting over hardships and moving forward in something that you're uncomfortable in. So I like it for that. And Tobey Maguire is he's pretty cool as an actor. I'm not mad at him. He's not Idris Elba cool. Just throw that in there, but he's
that he isn't.
Not a TV star. Not a TV star.
AJ, is the next movie yours? I believe it's.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
Right. Okay. So this one really, I believe, to be fair, it's the quality of the film made it number 9. How can I say it? Really, it should be number 10, because it's a great film, but it has such a little amount of Kentucky in it that it's not fair to really class it as a Kentucky movie. That's just the absolute truth of it. So this film is The Asphalt Jungle, which is an amazing film noir. Like,
punt or no punt, Pollyanna?
I'm gonna have to punt that one.
Okay,
I'm punting.
Cool. Number 8. Yay! Yay! My number 8, a movie I did not realize was something Kentucky, and a movie that we love here at the Movie Mount Rushmore podcast. My number 8 is Kingsman: The Secret Service. This film is incredible. It has no business being this good. Is this on your list, Pollyanna?
It is, but
punt.
I'd have to. Oh, you know what? No, go ahead, talk about it, please. It's not on my list. I'm sorry. I took it off the list.
So look, in a world where Daniel Craig existed as James Bond and was trying to do his best version of Jason Bourne, and when we'd had 24 and Jack Bauer, levity was missing from the spy genre. And wasn't necessarily looking for Austin Powers levity, but I needed some levity. And there are very, very few people on the planet better suited to doing levity while also having serious tones, huge amounts of copious gore, and really unique action set pieces than people like Vince Vaughn and Guy Ritchie. In this case, it was Vince Vaughn. Sorry, not Vince Vaughn. Matthew Vaughn. I'll get it right. Matthew Vaughn and Guy Ritchie. Matthew Vaughn in this case was helming this. And talk about reinventing characters, introducing the world to Taron Egerton, giving Colin Firth an edge that no one knew he had. Manners maketh man. It's like, I'm sorry, you're the guy who couldn't fight in Bridget Jones' Diary. Why are you now a total badass? This works. I love everything about this. And Samuel L. Jackson having a lift benign hamburgers. That works for me too, man. Yeah, all for this. Love, love, love.
I'll agree.
AJ, Pollyanna, anything you guys want to add?
Do you know? I mean, you kind of highlighted it. It was a different take on the spy genre. Each time I think of it, I recall there's a children's spy book that I was reading just before I saw this film, actually, and it was so similar it's the hero that wasn't meant to be a hero, who's not meant to be part of that world, but still achieves. And the comedy behind it was something different. And as you said, it was different roles. We're introduced to Taron Egerton. We've got Mark Strong. We've got Colin Firth in these roles that you're just like, this is working. This is working. And that's the greatness behind it. I will also say I'm not so much a fan of what came after in the franchise.
Agreed.
But this is a capsule that I can look at and was like, this is awesome. So yes, just to confirm, there are parts of this film that is indeed filmed in the UK, but when the traveling takes place, it is in Kentucky. So for everyone to be like, oh, it's a UK film. Yes, there are UK parts, but the US parts are in Kentucky. So that's all kinds of cool.
So that was our bottom three. Pollyanna, the floor is yours.
So we're not on the bottom three. We're on the next few. Okay. So
your number 10.
My number 10 is a little movie called Fire Down Below with the incomparable Steven Seagal and Chris Christopherson. Listen, if you've never seen Steven Seagal, like he had this is a side note, he had like a docu-series about him being a sheriff down in Louisiana or something like that. He's a chubby sheriff with a long ponytail. Like it was real life. Like he was the sheriff, like a deputy or something. Just next level. But anyway, this movie for me is one of those movies that it's not exactly the best movie ever, but you get to see broken arms and that kind of thing. So that's exciting. But the thing that they do in this movie in particular is like the lead female, because she's from Kentucky, is like this gorgeous hot girl, and they throw her in a flowered dress and socks and like combat boots. One of the things that is a common theme in a lot of movies about Kentucky is that they make the people look super poor, right? Yeah. And so this was one of those times. But federal agent uncovering, bad things happening in Appalachia. You can't be mad at it. It's an action adventure. But it is from I think it's from like the late 90s, mid 90s, somewhere in there. Of course
it is. It's a Seagal movie.
Right. So it's dated. But if you want to have a fun night and laugh about some action, then that's a go-to for me.
But that's kind of the way of a Steven Seagal movie, isn't it? They're never going to be like the landmark great films of all-time classics. You just sit there and go,
you behave.
I can't wait until that angulation of the arm happens. That's all I'm ever looking for in those movies.
Okay, there you go. Exactly. I've not seen the documentary that you're talking about, but I am aware that he was hanging up the acting boots, and he's been walking around town as a sheriff. So look. He's trying to legitimize himself. I'm still not sure if Steven Seagal can ever do that for me. But well done to you. He can obviously outdo me because I've never been a man to profess to fight. The gentleman above me, on the other hand, has several titles, and I would like to say I would rather put my money on him over Steven Seagal. But that's just another conversation. So, yeah, Seagal films are always the way they are.
Seagal is a badass. Listen, he is an Aikido black belt, but this is what a lot of people don't know. Aikido was invented in Japan as a means of self-defense by the samurai if you ever lost your sword. So it's very exactly as you said. It's about bending the wrists, bending the arms to try and disarm the other person as a last resort if you've lost your sword and you're just hand, right? It's not a modern martial art. Any NCAA wrestler or Thai boxer is going to step into the ring with Steven Seagal and kill him. It's just not even a question. But is he a badass nonetheless? Yes. And do I love him doing his shtick? Yes. Fat man with a ponytail for life. I love it.
I'm down with that. I'm down with
Wait,
that.
I can't wait to see you in like 30 years. Just FYI.
Dude, fat man with a ponytail now. What are you saying? Like, I'm here, girl.
I had no idea.
Dude, I'm a fat man with a ponytail now. What do you mean?
It's not in a ponytail, but I'm not far behind. I just can't fight.
You know, and unlike, you know, like Stephen, I had a fighting career, a relatively successful one in Thailand. Fat man with ponytail for life. I should put that on a t-shirt.
Oh
AJ, make a note. That's our merch. Fat man with ponytail.
The fat ponytail dudes coming in season 7.
Fat ponytail dudes.
FPD? What?
FPD.
Can you get Idris to play AJ, please?
Oh, if anyone compares me to Idris, I will take it all day long.
Only if Bradley Cooper plays me. Only if Bradley Cooper plays me.
I would watch that show. I love
it.
Saying.
Bradley and Idris. Bradley and Idris playing the
This is perfect.
Cool.
AJ,
can we reenact this on the show? Like on that show, on the actual FPD first episode. This is how it starts. And I don't know who I want. I think I would like to have the young Drew Barrymore play me, but
I can see that.
Right?
I can see that a lot.
I get Katherine Heigl and Drew Barrymore the most, but I like Drew Barrymore. She seems cooler.
Drew's got that edge that I've always loved about her. Right. I know what you mean.
Katherine Heigl seems a little more high maintenance, a little higher strung. I like a girl who might, you know, like hang out and smoke in the back with the dudes. Exactly. I don't know, you know.
I'm down with that.
Okay, cool.
Your number 9, please, Pollyanna.
My number 9 was Seabiscuit.
So we've covered that. So your number 8, please.
My number 8 is U.S. Marshals, starring Tommy Lee Jones, Robert Downey Jr. I mean, Wesley Snipes, Joe Pantel. I can't ever say his name.
Joey Pants. That's what we know him as. Joey Pants.
I mean, pretty fantastic movie, blockbuster, group of people in it, and interesting and action packed. And who doesn't love Wesley Snipes before he went to prison?
Even after, still love him.
Yeah, just saying. He was really much more popular back then. You know, going to prison sometimes kind of cuts you a bad deal.
Mm-hmm.
People don't want to work with you as much, I think.
All that for tax evasion.
Right. You should pay better people. That's it.
Yeah.
I love this movie. I know a lot of people say like it's a pale imitator of The Fugitive, given it's the lesser sequel. I love this film. I saw this one first, and I actually think, well, no, I don't prefer it, but I do adore this film. It's a barrel of fun.
See, it's one of those films that I've seen half of, but I've never rushed to see it because I want to see The Fugitive first, which is still on my to-see list. But from what I've seen of the film, it's a brilliant film. Yeah. So I can agree with you guys to a degree, but I can't go deeper in it because I've not seen it in its entirety based on not having seen The Fugitive. But yeah, from what I've seen, love it.
I think any kind of cop drama kind of a movie, like my father was a policeman, or not, he was a deputy sheriff too. Yeah. It's just like FPD, that whole
FPD.
He was actually Lewis County Sheriff's Department, but I digress. Anyway, but I can't wait till that show comes out.
Yeah.
Just think, like X-Fighter. AJ, I don't know exactly what you do outside of this. I'm so sorry.
I wish there was much more exciting. I'm just, this is it, really. Talk crap for fun. That's me.
Maybe you're like a cook, like maybe you cook it, or like maybe you're an entertainer.
Yeah. I'm not a bad cook. I can see Idris in the kitchen playing meat, just like, Yeah.
Oh, I could see Idris in the kitchen. Mhm. Just the apron. I don't know.
Yeah, I knew.
Little whisk action. Huh.
I now have
Okay.
visions of Idris Elba's butt in my head. Thank you, Polly.
You're welcome.
Things I didn't
Spreading
know
joy
that I
across
needed or not.
spreading pleasure across continents. Look at me.
Well, easy with pleasure, easy with using the word spreading when I've just talked about his butt. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys are the best.
Mind you, just like Chris Evans said, that's America's butt in Endgame. That will be the UK's butt, and it just being me. So I'm down with it. Keep
It's
spreading it.
Idris's bollocks. There you go. We got it in. We got it in. That one was for you.
Thank you.
AJ, 30 minutes. Time beep it
It's all
out.
It's all good. But yeah.
Had to
Yes,
get that.
you're saying your father is a deputy sheriff. Yeah, keep it on track.
Yes. Okay. So a good movie about cops and robbers and people running from the law. It's always good. You can't go wrong with that kind of movie.
Cool.
It's true. You really can't. They're infinitely watchable.
Mhm.
You're next, I believe, AJ.
Yeah, I'm going to go with this one because I'm not too familiar with our number 6. So this film was on my radar for a while. One, because biopics, whether the person's good or bad, is always going to be in my topic. And the young man who was in this is an absolute amazing talent. I dismissed him because I knew of High School Musical. After that, he's always just been a talent. I'm talking about Zac Efron in Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile, with Zac Efron playing Ted Bundy. Is that on your list, Pollyanna?
No.
Okay. Have you seen it?
No. I avoid those kinds of movies.
Okay. Do you know what? It's not
him.
not the level of gruesome that some of these films could lead you to believe.
Not at all.
It's weird because here's the one thing, and sometimes you know names but you don't know faces.
Mhm.
I'm aware that Ted Bundy had a following of people who believed this man was too cute to be the murdering serial killer that he was.
Mhm.
He wasn't Zac Efron, though. That's the one thing that threw me when I saw the real life picture compared to it. But it's essentially a man who studied law and is quite charming and has a way with ladies, but also has used that to a very negative gift, if you would. He would get them and he would go away. And this is all about the law following him after a few crimes have taken place, and he seems to have evaded it and left town, but they're now starting to pin him down again. It was an interesting viewing. It was an interesting viewing. Again, Efron, he's magic. He's gold.
He is magic.
He makes you believe in the characters that he is. From this to Dirty Grandpa to Baywatch, they're all three different. Even 17 again, they're all different characters. And
he's great.
He's diverse. He's really diverse.
Parkland. I keep telling you, watch Parkland.
Yeah.
He plays a doctor in Parkland who's trying to save Clinton after being shot. He's so good, I can't tell you.
There we are. And this one again, it's there. And
Kennedy. Sorry, I'll get it right.
Come again?
Not Clinton, Kennedy. I'm getting my president's.
When you said it, I was like, at first I was like, maybe he's saving Clint Eastwood because Clinton never got shot.
I'm the American one. I have no idea what movie, like the context of the movie. So I'm so sorry.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, so Parkland is about a JFK shooting and someone trying to save him. And this one, he's playing Ted Bundy. And what I love is that you see the charmingness of what would have swayed the jury and many people and all of these people to fall for him. Because essentially, from what I can see, Ted Bundy was a very charming person. And he was smart. He had a good head on his shoulders. Like, he studied law. There came to a point where you could see, as much as he wasn't really allowed to represent himself, the parts where he did represent himself, he was outdoing the lawyer that he had. So he was a very manipulative gentleman, and you could see how he won his way. So if you're out, you don't watch these kind of movies for like gore and murder, you could still watch this film because that's not the key part.
It wasn't violent, this film. I don't remember it being gory.
No. It's more courtroom drama than it is violent, even though that's what the focus is on. It's a really good film. I really enjoyed this, and I'm happy I finally got around to seeing it.
It sounds, and I can't wait to watch Parkland now. But side note, because of the job that I've been in for so many years, I tend to avoid anything that has anything to do with sexual assault, murder, that kind of stuff, just for my own self, not because of any terrible thing, but I used to be a sexual assault nurse examiner at one point in the ER. And so like I tend to go, like, as you can see from my list, I go for the more comedic or more, not in that genre. But I do appreciate your, like, what you're saying about the movie, because it's not about the gory murder part. It's about the courtroom drama. It's about
Yep.
how Efron, I believe, is a really great actor. I mean, High School Musical aside, had I seen him between now and then, not necessarily, just a couple times, maybe I think there was a movie called Neighbors or something like that, where he was with
Bad Neighbors. Yeah.
Fantastic movie. And I'll watch anything with him with no shirt on. This is going to be a theme. It's going to be a theme. Baywatch also, no shirt. I love it. To keep doing what you're doing, Zac Efron.
See, is it Bad Grandpa? I always get confused. If you're looking for Zac Efron, a bit like the Idris in the Apron, you're going to get a moment like that. Not that that's not why I watched it. I had a great laugh in that moment. Yeah.
Bumblebee.
Oh, hilarious moment.
Ridiculous.
By the way, just want to bring up that poster again, AJ. Put a bid on him. Tell me that's not Wolverine.
Literally.
No.
Daniel Radcliffe noise. There it. Oh, bro, you might have to Photoshop that picture. You may have to.
Put a beard on him with the claws.
Yeah. He's literally in yellow, just a couple of black stripes.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's good,
Well played. Cool.
I'm next, aren't I?
Yeah, that's you for number 6.
My number 6. Oh, this is a good film, this one. Al Pacino and Russell Crowe, 2 of the all-time greats, in a movie called The Insider. Is this a punt, or are we talking?
Talk away.
Talk away. So, what this movie does that's so clever is that there's so many true-to-life stories of whistleblowers and various scandals that you read about in the news, that you see in the papers, yada, yada, yada. What we never stop to ask, and what this movie does that's so interesting, what happens to the whistleblowers? And that's what this movie dives into. Russell Crowe is the whistleblower. He blows the lid off the tobacco companies using not just nicotine, but a bunch of illegal substances, which they have chemically proven get people hooked. And he's been sworn to secrecy to never divulge that information. And morally, it's not sitting right with him. Now, when he starts to gather information, and you can tell he's gaining steam to go and blow said whistle, they start threatening him. It starts getting quite dark. Not David Fincher 7 dark, but like, yeah, as a family man, it's like, yeah, someone would die if they did that to any member of my family. You know what I mean? It's like, there's a line you don't cross, and they crossed it. And what's fascinating is Pacino, they've got a very untrusting relationship. Pacino works for the papers, and he's trying to get Russell Crowe to blow the story open. And whereby what starts with Pacino's motivations is just, I need the story. It gets so much more layered than that, because he realizes that, no, there's actually a man's sanctity and life at risk here. So the whistleblowing only happens about halfway through the movie, and it's the fallout of what happens to him after, how they try and smear his name, how he has to rejuvenate his life and rehabilitate his name and drag it out the mud. It's amazing to watch.
Yeah, I must admit, once we both had it on the list, I was halfway in the middle of watching it when we were like trying to compile the list, and it was getting to a point where we needed to finalize. I'll be honest, I just didn't have the energy to watch it. But what
it's long.
When I say not the energy, it's not that it wasn't a bad film. But when you're trying to get a top 10 list of films that you're not familiar with, sometimes your energy is just a bit zapped, and work in between. It's there. It is on the too complete list because it was very, very. Again, me and biopics just have that relationship that I get captivated in, and this was one of them. And it was really funny because I'm not overly, again, from the UK standpoint, Mike Wallace is a name that if you pay enough attention to US films and stuff. Like you hear the name, but we don't get him. I think he's like David Frost. We know David Frost to be the guy to uncover everything. I've heard Wallace, but I don't know something. So just hearing like they wanted this guy to go to Mike Wallace about this whole story, I was like, this was really big then. Like it felt like a great uncovering. But I just didn't have a chance to finish it. But I'm not even going to complete
Christopher Plummer playing Mike Wallace. I forgot about that.
So this isn't even a complete. I'm going to start it again because it felt so good. It feels like something that needs your full attention from beginning to end. From what I saw, great movie. So I'm happy.
And let's not gloss over, directed by Michael Mann.
Yeah, who we've been.
Can't be mad at that.
Come on, man. Right, that's our next two. Pollyanna, it is over to you. Your number 7, please.
My number 7 is a sweet little film called Elizabethtown, starring Orlando Beautiful Bloom and Kristen Dunst. Alec Baldwin, I think, is in that one too. Jessica Biel.
This one's all you. I haven't seen this one.
So basically, this follows this gentleman who has worked for this shoe company and basically bankrupts them by millions because the shoe he built was terrible, and he moves on. And he finds out the same day that he's trying to recover from this great loss of his job and what he's going to do, and moves straight into, oh my gosh, my dad's dead, and now I have to go to Elizabethtown, Kentucky and pick him up because he's been cremated, and that's where the family's from. So it's wonderful. It's funny. Kirsten Dunst plays this flight attendant who basically is that little ray of sunshine in the middle of his deepest days, right? And so it's pretty awesome. It has an amazing soundtrack, by the way. Check it out.
Nice.
But go ahead.
No, I was going to say it was on my list. I think there was one other film I was going to see. Had I finished The Insider, there was going to be one other film I wanted to see. Then Elizabethtown was on the list because it felt just like a nice, sweet movie. And from what you said, it's proven to be that.
It is. It's sweet. And one little side note that's is a pretty cool thing is that there is a drink that is only made in Kentucky. It's called Ale8. Ale. I want to say that so you can enter Ale8. It's ginger ale. They make it in Kentucky. And when Orlando Bloom was in Elizabethtown filming, he loved it so much that he started having it shipped to his home.
That's a cool story.
Anyway, if you ever get a chance to try an Ale8, you might have in Florida, Nico. Did you do that in Florida? They have it down there.
Oh, no. I tried to stay. I'm not to be rude. I tried to stay off the Florida local produce. I wasn't impressed.
It's not.
We're very listen. People love to crap on British food. Genuinely, the quality of the produce we have on this small island is fantastic. From the farms, which have got all of our cattle and poultry, we've got really good selection of supermarkets. Our fruit is good. Why are you laughing, AJ?
Because you sound like someone who voted for us to on Brexit. That's why I just don't want you to be that way.
No.
I would like you to finish.
Just so we're clear, I didn't say that it was all made in the UK. We happen to have good farms, yes.
Yeah,
I also am aware that our
just waiting for you to finish. Because
But you guys have
like a Brexit waving flag guy. Like I don't like the. I stayed away from American produce and the good old UK. We have great farms. I was just like,
do you know what they gave me on my first day there? I walked into a restaurant and said, "I'd like," because I was being open-minded, contrary to what I may have just insinuated with my own words. I said, "I would like to try something typically Floridian," and they went, "Are you sure?" I went, "I sure am. Bring it on." They brought me this bowl of like melting batter, and these balls of melting batter. I was like, what is this? They went, oh, that's gator. I was like, huh? As in alligator. And they went, yeah, it's gator. We eat that in Florida. I was like, when in Rome, I tried it. And they came back and went, how'd you like it? I went, I didn't. They went, what? But it tastes just like chicken. I was like, sure, if you inject chicken with rubber. Like, that ain't like no chicken I ever tried. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But no, you were talking about farms, but didn't Mad Cow come from Britain?
Yeah, see, you done flubbed it for us.
Mad Cow did come from
But I
Britain.
really did appreciate your you were passionate about your hometown. I'm happy for you. I like it.
No, listen, it's one of those things where I've traveled, I've spent 10 years living in Southeast Asia. I think I'm on 66 countries I've visited now, all of which I'm happy to say I genuinely only eat locally because I think that's what you should do when you go abroad. I don't think there's any point going abroad and being like, where's the nearest McDonald's? I'm like, you ignorant flub. Like, come on, man, try the local stuff. When in Rome, as they say. And it really, you do realize that we got good food in the UK, man. We really do have good food. And I don't mean food that's UK made. I mean our range and selection that we have from all over the world. Hey, man, we got Reese's Pieces here. I like me some American chocolate. As long as it's Reese's. The Hershey stuff is disgusting.
There's no chocolate in Reese's Pieces. What are you talking about?
Peanut butter is great.
That's not chocolate, you idiot. Please don't make us sound that ignorant.
Well, I like Reese's peanut butter then, okay?
You like peanut butter cups. You like Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
all right. Okay, just checking. I'm just throwing that out there. But
especially
honestly,
the white chocolate ones, those are good.
Like something to think about. Florida, everything is fried in the South. They fry everything.
Yeah, they really do.
Fry everything. But you have a lot of fried food in.
Oh yeah, the English breakfast is made on fried food.
We're all
the question though.
Fried and grilled, though, isn't it? It's a grilled tomato. You grill your sausage. You grill your bacon. Well, you can fry or grill your bacon.
Depending on some people, they fry the toast. So some people fry the toast. You know what I mean? So
yeah. AJ, you're not understanding. AJ, you don't get it, big man. We fry. They deep fry.
They deep fry. They batter it. They batter everything and fry
Here's
it
the thing I want to ask though: grits. Yeah. Do you enjoy grits?
I do. If they're
good,
prepared.
I want to try them. That's on my list.
I'll send you some. Hang on, I'll mail you some.
Oh, nice. Looking forward.
There's a menu I was at a restaurant in Florida. This is the truth. We're going way off topic here. It's been a while since we've done a tangent. On this menu, I've got it. I've got the photo saved. I'm sure I've shown it to you, AJ. Deep fried bacon. I was like,
oh shoot.
What? No. I'm getting a heart attack by just reading that. Like, no.
Again, I'm going to play the counter argument before the comments do it. We come from it's not our country. It's just a bit further north. They deep fry a Mars bar. Who does that?
Oh, that's good.
Listen. Next weekend starts the Circleville Pumpkin Show, which is the oldest pumpkin show, I think, in the United States. I don't know. It's been going on for hundreds of years. And you can get anything fried. You can get Twinkies. You can get Oreo cookies. You can get a Mounds, an Almond Joy, a Snickers. You can get anything that you want will be deep fried. Cheese, hot dogs.
Deep fried cheese I approve of. I approve of that. That is a good idea.
Cheese on a stick is a great fair food.
That is a very good idea. But AJ, you're missing the point. Deep frying a Mars bar is novel. Deep frying something that's already fried doesn't make sense. Like, it's like, would you like some deep fry with your fry? It's like, what?
Did you know that the United States has an obesity problem?
Did you know?
Did you know?
They big in Gainesville, FBD, man. Like,
FBD.
Okay, that one got me.
Oh my gosh, this is more fun than I thought it was going to be. This is awesome.
This is what we do.
I love it.
Throw back to last week from a heart attack. Hey, yeah, you did.
Okay. Back in the room.
Bring it back in the room.
It's actually a film I do want to see.
My number 6 is Rain Man.
No.
That's a punt. That's a punt.
Okay.
That is 100% a punt. Thank you.
You got all crazy about it. All right. Punted.
What was our number 5?
So we're now at one apiece. Yeah.
Okay.
One apiece. Okay. Our number 5. Now remember, if this isn't your number 5, you need to punt us, Pollyanna. Okay.
Okay.
Unless it's a tie now, you're punting. Okay.
Okay.
So our number 5. James Bonding Goldfinger.
Punt.
Oh. The American punted the Brits on Goldeneye. What the hell? Goldfinger, rather. What the hell? That's shameful, but well done. I like that. Your number 5.
My number 5 is another sweet little movie called Next of Kin, starring Patrick Swayze, Liam Neeson, Helen Hunt, Adam Baldwin, Bill Paxton, Ben Stiller.
Wow.
All of these people in this movie. And that's like also a late 80s movie that that one really hit home because they, in scenes in this movie, they go up a holler in Kentucky and they've got trains running and you see the poor people standing out like on their porches in their tattered, I don't know where these ladies get these tattered flowered dresses that look like they came from the 1800s, like cowboy style. I don't understand it. But it's in every movie. It's just one of the biggest stereotypes that people from Kentucky are just poor and ignorant, right? And coal miners. That's what we do in Kentucky. We farm and dig coal. But this movie for me, because I got to meet Patrick Swayze in person.
Wicked.
Yeah. So at Keeneland in Lexington, that's another horse track. That at the fall running of Keeneland, I got to meet actually the same day because MC Hammer had a horse running that year. I got to meet MC Hammer and Patrick Swayze both the same day, and I won my first actual bet on a horse race then.
Nice.
1992, maybe 91. Not to give away my age too much, but anyway. This movie for me is awesome because I love Helen Hunt for one. I think she's a wonderful actress. She does some really good things. Liam Neeson, again, take your shirt off. I'm sorry. I love Liam Neeson regardless of, I mean, he's awesome. He's just awesome.
I like that.
But this movie, have you either of you seen this movie at all?
No, man.
I'm going to say this is also like the whole cop kind of, so Patrick Swayze's character is, of course, a police officer, and he goes out to find his brother's killer. So in Kentucky, generally speaking, people will go across the rivers at any given point. So you've got Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, West Virginia, Tennessee. People go across the borders historically to work because there's no work in these little towns. And so they'll go to bigger cities. And in this case, the baby brother gets into trouble and gets himself hurt. So Patrick Swayze saves the day.
As he does.
Awesome. He does. What a wonderful guy. But super short, by the way. Super short guy.
That's also a winner for me. Not that the length of the movie always counts, like we've been saying in our movie news show, but it does help sometimes to get a nice, quick film. You can sit down, it's over, and yeah. I like that. I like that. I'm going to look out for that one. That didn't come up on like a list of stuff, so that's quite interesting. And what I like is, if I'm not mistaken, your 6 and 5 both had a Baldwin brother in it. Cool. Yeah, they don't get enough love. So they don't.
So, AJ, would you say that our number 5 pick was more my wheelhouse? And I'm sure you'll be happy to take number 4, won't you?
I am all over number 4.
And if you get punted.
Well, maybe, but if
it's not your number 4,
Mount Rushmore news, we can celebrate the fact that this film was 30 years old last week, and it got GOAT status from the Silver Screen dudes. We are talking Wesley Snipes, we are talking Sylvester Stallone, we're talking Sandra Bullock, we are talking Demolition Man. I was shocked as all hell. I'm going to say it. I was shocked.
It's not my 4.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yes.
Shut down, my friend.
Love it. That's all good. All good.
Poliana, your number 4.
My number 4, we're going back to Asphalt Jungle.
The punt from earlier. Nice.
Yeah. The reason why I love this movie, first, just a side note as well. Again, side note. When I was a younger girl, Marilyn Monroe was like I have got to be like that when I get older. So much so that I have a really good friend who's in Doha right now. Sorry. What? I'm sorry.
I said the pills or the drinking. I'm being a dick.
No, it's hanging out with JFK.
There you go. So the shooting. Gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
Right. Okay. So my friend has always called, since we were kids, he's called me Norma Jean, always. And I love you, Shannon. If you're listening, you have to. Anyway, this movie was one of the first films she was ever in. And so she's like a nobody person in this film, basically. She's not like the main character. And it's like it's one of the better heist movies. It's like one of the very first heist movies, actually, is what I've read. But I think it deserves a little love. And Sterling Hayden, these are older actors, and Gene Hagen, James Whitmore, but Sam Jaffe, older American silver screen stars that were like part of my childhood. And that's why I loved it, because I love like anything that Marilyn Monroe was in. Honestly, there's a handful of things. It's not like she was like the greatest actress ever, but she's pretty fantastic as an icon for myself.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So check it out.
Yeah. On that, do you know what Nick, you haven't seen it, no? No, I can't recommend it enough. It's again going back to those elements. It is one of the it's a noir, but it has the early heist to it. It also it's just amazing the way it's a guy who comes out of prison and he's like a top dog. You could tell he's a top dog in the way it is. And there's this guy who seems to go to the same. We'll call it. I don't want to call it like criminal HQ, but there's this little place that they go to, and it's all about trying to. You could either go there to like get jobs or your underhanded bets to take place in this place. And this guy owes a bit of money, and they recruit him because you could tell he's a dab hand with a gun. He's got a bit of muscle to him. But the story of how the heist takes place and then the unraveling of each person you kind of want to feel it a bit like Reservoir Dogs, but not, because it's like the heist goes wrong. And with that, each guy starts to fall off, but it's not in a Reservoir Dog-esque way of who's this and how, of a who done it. It's just who will get away. And it's awesome. All kinds of awesome. The only reason it was so low for me, because in terms of it being Kentucky, there's just like one scene at the end. I don't believe, maybe the rest of the film was, but I didn't believe it was. And that's the only reason I felt like if I'm going to focus on Kentucky and give Kentucky its love on a filmed in Kentucky, I just felt a bit wrong in having it higher than that. But in terms of quality of a film, this is top 5 territory all day long, for sure. You'll love it, Nick. I guarantee you.
I love me an old movie, man. So, yeah. I need to watch it. Yeah. Okay, so that was your number 4. So our number 3. I think this is all you, AJ.
Yes. In the UK, it's called Trigger. And in the US, Triggered, sorry. And in the US, it's called And Then I Go. I keep going back to that old thing. Have you seen or heard of this one?
Punked.
Yeah, it's based on, again, this doesn't have like sexual assault in it, so I don't know. But if it's like you want to stay away from stuff that are kind of chilling, this may be one to avoid. What would I call it? If I could describe it as a love child movie, if you were to mix kind of chill of when we need to talk about Kevin and Donnie Darko, that's the kind of eeriness I have.
Jesus,
it's not as sci-fi as Donnie Darko. It's very grounded in reality, right?
But it's as dark as we need to talk about Kevin. So it's a Lynn Ramsey level movie. Okay,
bro, the situation is of this film. It's about this. I can't even remember the kid's name now, but it's about this young boy who you're following, and you can see he's an outsider. He's very, very much an outsider, and he's got this one friend he chills with, and that's the way their friendship is just them. That throughout everything, they are the outsiders, but this kid is really out there, and you can see he's a bit of an insomniac. He's got problems sleeping. He just doesn't get on with many people at school, but he's really good at art. And that's kind of like the passageway to where he is starting to make a few friends. But because of the bond he has with the other guy, he stays away from people because he doesn't want to lose the friendship of the one person who's always been there for him. And, what happens is, I can't remember the guy. Justin Long plays his dad in this film. And Justin Long wants to...
I like Justin Long.
Was it Drew Barrymore who plays his mom? I can't remember now. This is embarrassing.
There's Darko, right?
Come again?
I haven't seen
I
it.
said, there's your Donnie Darko connection.
Yeah, no, yeah, but they like the two. whoever it is that plays his parents, they want to get on with him, but they believe that all the fight, every time he comes back about Edinburgh, they believe he's the instigator behind it, when genuinely he's not. So this is like a reoccurring theme. Like, he can make a bond with people, but he doesn't for fear of losing the one friend who's always had his back. And what happens is, after one fight that occurs, they start to talk about how they have to start to get their revenge on people. And that essentially leads to them talking about locking everybody in the gym and going out for an all school shootout. And it seems like something they plan, and it seems like it's just conversation at first. And then it starts to be taken more and more seriously. Like, this is actually going to happen. But in that time, they actually have a fallout. And in the time of that fallout, you see him start to develop and become a lot better. This kid who has a problem connecting with people is now starting to connect with people. His art is getting him recognized. He starts to do good in school. He's starting to sleep. And it looks like he's on his way. Until another kid gets into a fight and talks about shooting somebody. I'm going to take my dad's gun and I'm going to shoot someone. Excuse me. And when that kid does it, it makes him feel like this guy's going to take away the spotlight of what we're going to do. And this is what happens. It now leads into them about to actually go out for a school shootout. Does it happen? Does it not? It gets it's not on me to spoil, but the chills I had in this film of someone who was very misunderstood, and it looks like they're going to go the right way. And then it again, just the smallest decision has such a huge impact on what your life can be, you know? It was a chilling film, but it captivated me in a way I wasn't ready for. In the UK, it is available on Amazon Prime. Can't remember if it was free for Prime. But yeah, look for Triggered or And Then I Go. But it's worth a watch. Really good film.
Nice. Okay, I must check it out. Pollyanna, we are over to you then with your number 3.
My number 3 is Goldfinger.
Goldfinger.
How can you not like Goldfinger, right? And you're okay with the Sean Connery, right? You're okay with Sean Connery as
John's the man. Second best Bond.
Second best Bond.
Second best Bond.
Pierce Brosnan is number 1. Pierce Brosnan
is number 1.
We talked about that already off camera. I love Pierce Brosnan. I had a little misunderstanding about that. I love that. Yeah. I loved it when he came onto the United States scene in a TV show.
Yeah.
Remington Steele.
And it also that show itself launched my love for the Volkswagen Rabbit.
Oh no.
Because the chick in it, Stephanie, whatever her name was, she drove one. I'm just saying. I just want to be cool like her so he would like me. I was young. You do. Okay.
Understandable.
But yeah. Goldfinger, classic. If you haven't watched it, go to the daggone store, buy a copy of it, or like look it up, stream it, whatever. Have it. You should I think people should already have this in their movie.
Yes, they really should.
You should. Because there's so many cool people. And if you've never been to Fort Knox, Kentucky, it's a cool place. There really is gold bars. There's really money at Fort Knox, like they say there is. There truly is.
Nice.
It's just quite well guarded. Yes.
Yes, it is quite well guarded. And the character, the list, like the female Bond girls, just the names. I don't want to. Am I allowed to say her name? I know.
Of course. Well, Pussy Galore. Go for it.
Yes.
Oh, it's the name. Of course it is. Yeah.
Okay. I just listen. I mean, the shirtless stuff that I'm coming off with, I don't want to seem like I'm that kind of person, but it sounds like I'm that kind of person.
Your show is literally called Buried Pleasures.
But we talk about more than sexuality is pleasure. I like to discover what people's real true pleasures are. Your guys' pleasure is doing movie reviews, and it's pretty cool. And it's making you happy through your day. So pleasure. Check it out.
Right.
Anyway, check out Goldfinger. I love that movie.
Yeah, look, this often ranks. It's not my favorite Bond, but it's up there. It's not even my favorite Connery Bond, but but it's up there. Top 3 easily. It's one of the greatest Bond songs. For a lot of people, the greatest James Bond. One of our favorites too. It really is quite a magnificent achievement for the spy genre, you know, where they went a bit Hitchcock with, which I loved, with From Russia with Love. They built on the mythology created in Dr. No with Spectre. You know, you find out that Goldfinger's a member of Spectre, which is so cool. It's the proper first Bond movie where you get a proper henchman in Odd Job and his spinning slicey hat. It's the first time you see the Aston Martin and all the gadgets being used in all their glory. It's like, if you wanted to show someone, like, if you wanted to put Daniel
Bond
Craig in a headlock and say, look, this is what Bond should be like, you computer-generated orangutan, that's what you should do.
I would have picked Spider Monkey other than orangutan because he's little. He's a small man. Orangutan.
He's short, but he's stocky as all hell. Daniel Craig.
He's stocky.
Yeah,
he doesn't look stocky. He looks like I could pick him up and.
He's short.
I wish he would.
Maybe if we can make that happen on the next movie Mount Rushmore. Okay, sorry.
Slugging of Daniel Craig.
Listen.
So that brings us over to our number 2, yeah?
Yep. Yeah. This is all you, bro.
Oh, did you get a chance to watch it, AJ?
I'm watching it. I just didn't finish it. I haven't finished it, but
I've
got to the crux. I've got to the crux of what's happening. I don't dislike it like you thought I would, actually.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
I just have a question before you start. What kind of psychopath watches half a movie all the time and has all these movies?
Oh, AJ's terrible. Like,
what is going on here? What is going on? What is happening? I watch half a movie and get bored.
No. I wish it was that. So between the two of us, there's one who has seen a lot of films, and there's one who had a lot of film knowledge.
Gotcha.
So with that, I could talk films because I was aware of what the films were, and then it comes to a point of trying to cram them in time for a topic. So we'll do it. And as much as I wanted to finish Insider, we were kind of torn on what should really be our number 1. So, and then I Go was really touching to me, and that was like my number 2, but had very much potential to be number 1. Killing of a Deer. Yeah. Sorry.
Cheers for that, bro. Yeah.
This was a film that I was like, I'm very intrigued to see what it was. So we were like both seeing what our number 2s and number 1s were, just to see if it changed the balance. So work doesn't permit me to always finish it, and sometimes I just can't focus on like a really long film. So today, where I had the day off, I was trying to hammer this film, but then I had a family phone call that went just a tad too long. So where I really wanted to have finished it, I've just got half an hour left. So this is why you'll always have me on it's halfway through on my list because I want to finish them for a pod, but just circumstances.
It's adorable.
Thank you.
Yeah, so having given that away, my R2, which was my top pick, a movie that absolutely blew me away, The Killing of a Sacred Deer, with Colin Farrell and Nicole Kidman, and genuinely someone I think is the hottest actor on the planet at the moment. I don't mean in terms of hot, I mean in terms of just raw talent. Barry Keoghan, man.
Yeah.
This guy is an absolute monster, and he's so young. It's ridiculous how. Yes, he played Druid in Immortals. Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I'll agree with that. I'll agree.
He was in Top Boy recently. He was in The Banshees of Inisherin, where he played the kid who was a bit simple. And this is where he got his big break. Viewer, be warned, this is a Yorgos Lanthimos movie, which Yorgos Lanthimos did things like The Favorite. Yorgos Lanthimos did things like The Lobster. Yorgos Lanthimos is doing the upcoming Poor Things. He is a director noted for being very weird with his creative vision. No, this is not a cookie cutter, this is for everyone type movie. You're either going to love it through gritted teeth or you're going to hate it. You must not, much the same way. This is Pollyanna. This is just a personal thing. I believe Tarantino's last movie, for instance, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, should not be viewed as a movie. I think you should consume it like a fairy tale, which is literally what it is. Once upon a time, right? He's reinventing history. He's putting a fairy tale spin on it. This needs to be viewed like a Greek mythology. There's no other way of describing it. And in fact, the film is kind of based on a Greek mythology. The story of Agamemnon and his daughter Iphigenia, who they were told he has to sacrifice her because he stole a sacred deer from Artemis. That Greek myth is in fact referenced in this movie. And the movie opens where you're at a place where you've got this family. They all seem very clean cut, almost Stepford wife like. They're speaking in it. Sorry?
I said coincidentally, Nicole Kidman.
Very good. Very, very good. But, you know, they speak with this weird dialogue and react to things in a weird way. And it's done purposefully. It's to elevate the movie from being like a regular drama to, for me at least, being a psychological horror. That all the dialogue choices, they're like really narratively driven. It's such a wonderful exercise in using dialogue as a form of telling your narrative without exposition, because the movie doesn't answer questions. It asks many, but it doesn't answer any. So after all that, blah, 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 what's it actually about? Family, husband, wife, 2 kids. The husband seems to be this very proficient doctor. And through very clever, you know, uncomfortable and unsettling dialogue, you find out that he has a drinking problem. And he may have been drinking while doing a heart surgery on someone. And that someone happens to have a son. That son is Barry Keoghan. Barry Keoghan blames Colin Farrell for losing his dad. And Barry Keoghan, the movie doesn't explain what it is. Interpret it as you want. It's a curse, a prophecy, a destiny, karma. Pick your poison. They're all correct. But Barry Keoghan declares to Colin Farrell, this is what's going to happen. Step 1, your kids are going to be paralyzed. Step 2, they're going to start getting so skinny because they won't have any hunger. They'll lose all appetite. You won't even be able to force feed them. Step 3, they're going to bleed from their eyes, and then they're going to drop dead. You can stop this, because it will also happen to your wife and to you. You can stop this. Pick one to kill. Sacrifice one of them. And the movie plays out. And you're watching this going, what in the blue flub am I watching? And it's enthralling. It's unique. It's unsettling. It's uncomfortable. It does delve into the realm of horror, but not like jump scare horror. Like, no, you know,
it's a weird. I wouldn't even say horror. It's, I think, as you said, mythology.
Psychological horror.
Yeah. It was unsettling. It's a very interesting film.
It's
I
so
wouldn't
interesting.
have the same director as The Favourite. It throws me.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a Yargos film. He's mental. I love Yargos. I think he's one of the most unique voices in Hollywood today. But yeah, this is one of those movies like we need to talk about, Kevin, that's going to stay with me. It really left an impression on me, this one. And it's like, okay, that's a movie.
You know, it's that speech that you talk about in the beginning that is a bit of a throw to the film, because even the relationship between Farrell and Keoghan, it's there, and it's weird because it's very matter of fact but very open at the same time, and you're like, it's something to adapt to in the film, and that's the one thing that I think you can either adapt to or it's a bit of a throwaway. But once you can get past it and you get to the crux of, to me, and I don't want to get into anything too deep, I could sense the guilt, because it's like, well, this has to be why he keeps talking to this kid. There's something behind it. He's got a level of guilt. But it's when that curse comes in and it's a case of do this or, you know, it will continue to everyone but you kind of thing. And I was like, ooh, where are we going? And that's when the film gets interesting. It really, if you can get past that barrier of something, it will get, like, if you can stick with the journey, you're in for a ride, because it gets deep.
It gets deep, and you must consume it like a myth. You cannot, if you consume this piece of media like a literal, I need all the questions answered, atypical Hollywood movie, it's going to leave you with your head spinning and going, and probably saying, I don't like it, because you'll have questions that it purposefully does not answer. It's like an elevated haute critique piece of art. It's saying to you, use your brain, interpret me how you want, fill in the blanks. It's really quite the amazing achievement.
Nice.
Yes.
I shall be finishing it tonight.
Pollyanna, over to you. Your number 2.
My number 2 is this is an oldie but a goodie. It's called Stripes, and it stars Bill Murray, John Candy, Harold Ramis, Sean Young,
Wow.
Judge Reinhold. It's an Ivan Reitman film from the early 80s. This is one of those ones when I was a child, I would sneak in when they're watching rated R movies behind my parent, like this is the time of the VHS Betamax tapes, we'd sneak in behind the furniture and watch. And the reason why we couldn't see it is because there was female nudity, which I never got that part, but whatever. They just didn't want us to see, nakedness. It's bad. Anyway, This movie is hilarious. If you've never seen it, watch it. It's definitely most definitely dated in the fact that it uses a lot of like locker room humor, right? That's
right.
The gist of this movie. Right. That is what this movie is about. It's basically Harold Ramis and Bill Murray as roommates, and they can't figure out how to make any money. They keep losing jobs, whatever, and they go into the military. It's hilarious. Watch it, find it wherever you can stream it. It's great. It's just one of those, you can just pop it in and you'll watch the whole thing, AJ. I swear you will. If you ever
it is actually on my list. Like, when I read it, the synopsis seemed really cool. So that
it's really a fun, and it's good, like Cold War time, obviously, like the whole Russia versus the United States, which is, relevant, I guess you could say today. Not as funny, but definitely it's, well, I have to equate things with what my youngest daughter is 18, and she always says, like, Mom, you guys used to say such racist things. You used to do that, It's big here in the United States.
It's huge here. Don't get it twisted. It's huge. Massive here.
Okay. Yeah. So, but I'm like, no, you have to understand the different times. We don't do these things anymore, but like the humor is not lost. It's still there. But remember, this is 1980. This is not 2023. There might be some things that might be deemed offensive. So, viewer beware.
Good.
It's yeah. It's really funny you say that. And just to give an example of how it works over here, I have no idea what these 3 schoolgirls were talking about when I was on the train to work the other day. But I couldn't help but overhear something when they said, well, it's not offensive, but it is a slur. And it was something people used to use. So and I was like, I wish I knew what this word was, who was the target, but people used to use it like 10 years ago, and I felt so old. But in the same breath, I was like, it's weird because some of the stuff, do you know, I'm just going to call it here, and it is what it is. Ace Ventura is one of the, it's a silver screen dude's classic. Yeah. Do you know in this time, it's seen as a transphobic movie?
Sure.
And you're like,
sure.
And it's like, it's just the way
Sean Young, too. Sean Young.
Yeah, there you go. So it's all of these things that you appreciate. It's not that you're transphobic. It's not that you're racist. It's not that you're homophobic. It's just the way we would deliver comedy back then. Friends is another one. I love
language evolution. With all of these things, the world needs to stop bloody nitpicking and having their flavor of the month for offense. For example, I found out the other day that the sentence "no can do" is racist. It's not intended racistly, because I don't think there's anyone on the... Yeah, AJ, no can do was a slur used by the British when they went to China to take the mickey out of the Chinese citizens' broken English. Put no can do with a Chinese accent. No can do.
Probably
you see it now.
I get where you're going. Yeah.
Did you know that long time no see is racist? Americans used it on the Native Americans. Long time no see. It was a slur. Do you know that the term tipping point is racist? Tipping point was what estate agents used to use in any white neighborhood, which would denounce how many non-white people it would take to move into a neighborhood in order to get the white people to move out. You can put your hand in your head. The point I'm trying to make is that no one uses the word tipping point negatively. No one uses the word no can do to bastardize the Chinese. No one says long time no see as some sort of degrading means, some sort of degrading use towards Native Americans. We just think we do. We don't spend our whole time going, I wonder who the hell I could defend today. There are some people out there who are like that, but they represent such a small freaking minority that I wish people, oh my God, you said something that's offensive. Fine. What was my meaning behind it? We literally have coined a term on this show called FPD. I guarantee you some obese person out there is going to have heard that and think we're offensive as flub. It's just cherry.
It's coming from two FPDs.
This is what I'm saying. You've always said it perfectly. Racism, any type of ism, it's all about intent and it's about the tone you use. If I go, I'm a father of a little girl and I'm most likely about to have another, right? But I'll listen to a sexist joke for days, and I'll laugh. And I'll think, is the person saying this joke really a sexist, or are they just talking about something that's taboo and having a bit of laugh and adding a bit of levity to the world? If it's the latter, trust me, I'm laughing. We've FPD. That's going to become now part of our lexicon. This is now part of our grammar. This is going to be on a freaking t-shirt. I guarantee you someone's going to be offended by it. This is what I mean. Well, we've turned into a bunch of cherry-picking sensitive Sallys, and we just need to breathe, chill, just realize we're trying to have a laugh. There's a war going on in Ukraine. People are dying. There is a war in the Middle East that's about to kick off again. There's real freaking problems happening. I'm not about to get offended because someone's used a slur. Rant over.
Yeah. I'm just going to add one final touch. I couldn't believe it when people were offended by Friends. There was a lack of diversity.
Yeah.
Oh, kill me. Yeah. Just kill me. Just kill me. It's like,
listen,
to quote Phil Brooks, anything I've just said, tell me when I'm telling lies. Tell me when I'm telling lies.
It's exciting that to hear this side. It's I don't know how it is there, different country. Here, cancellation for every comment that you make. Also, in my line of work where I'm talking about pleasure and healthcare, it's really, it's a very difficult spot. But to keep moving, I get you guys on tangents, don't I? Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, is it down to, so that was Stripes, which we will be checking out because that's the kind of humor.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Ghostbusters with dick jokes. Absolutely, I'm in.
Absolutely. Anything that was either like SCTV, do you know what SCTV is?
No.
It's old. You have to look that up. So there was like a Canadian version of Saturday Night Live, and it was Second City TV. It would come on, and it had people like John Candy, and I'm trying to think of all these. Catherine, the lady, the redhead in Beetlejuice, the mom. Is her name Catherine something? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You know that lady.
She
was also one of those. I'd have to look it up. But those are the things that I watched as a kid growing up. And that's how I learned that if you're funny, people like you more, especially if you have an accent and you're like a dirty farm kid that's poor. Having a good sense of humor helps 100% with that. And it had like Doug and Bob McKenzie, who were oh my gosh. So John Candy, Eugene Levy, Joe Flaherty, Catherine O'Hara, Dave Thomas, Andrea Martin Short. These were all cast members from that. So that was all in the same time. And so it's just funny. It's funny.
Yeah, that's what it's about. Good humor.
Yeah.
Seriously, you want to be offended? Watch a Ricky Gervais stand up and be offended and laugh at the same time. The guy's funny and he's talking about taboos. Just relax, everyone. It's just jokes.
Right. Just jokes.
That's the one.
Okay.
So, who's taking number one?
I think You love it more than I do. I love it, but I think you love it more. So it's yours, mate.
Sure. Thank you very much. Okay. So in at number 1, Pollyanna is the one that we punted with like huge passion. Dustin Hoffman, Tom Cruise, Rain Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. This film, you talked about how Stripes was a VHS that you would sneak and watch. It's not that I had to sneak and watch it, but Rain Man was a VHS that was just on my parents' shelf for the longest while. It was just there. There's just some stuff you look at and you never think, you just see two guys walking. Like you see the poster, you just saw two guys walking. You're like, what's this about? But it got to a point that my sister and I said, let's just shove that tape in and let's see what it's about. And I always say it was my opening to autism. I had no idea about autism before this. And it was so, at first you're thinking, what's up with this guy? Then you start to actually understand what is really going on. And it's the transformation of Tom Cruise from someone who just was the self-entitled kid who believes he should get his parents' inheritance. And who is this Raymond? Who's Raymond who's got this money? And the formation of a relationship that is built from it, the journey of it, you could show, again, we talked about how certain humors aren't allowed and was there. Rain Man could have been very, very distasteful. It could have been in that era. And, it could have been a comedy that could have gone beyond. But the drama, the revelation, the understanding that came from this film for me, I think is just second to that. It's one of those films that, because of the lasting impression, as I said, had it not been for the lasting impression from a young person that I was back then to now, that this film still sticks with me, maybe something like And Then I Go would have been my number 1. But Rain Man is one of those films that just really sticks into, if anyone asks me, what is one of your favorite films or something like that, this is one of them that's going to be in there. It has a lot of redeeming factors to it. As much as it's there are moments in the film that you sit back and laugh. You're like, what is going on? But, it's just a testament to how well Dustin Hoffman portrayed Rain Man. And it was great. Just lasting memory of the film.
The thing I'll add to it, AJ, is that as good as Dustin Hoffman was, and obviously he's the standout in this, but obviously that the role makes him the standout. You're naturally going to have you're treading a fine line of having to play someone who suffers from an illness like autism or disorder and illness. I don't know what the correct term is now. I'm not trying to offend. You get my point. You're portraying someone like Raymond in this, and you're having to do it tastefully so that it's convincing and ironically not offensive. Tom Cruise acting opposite him, man.
God.
Wow. Seriously, I know Tom Cruise is known for his action roles. Boy, he can do drama well. When Tom Cruise turns on the drama dial, he is quite brilliant. It's
even the girl who played the girlfriend.
Yeah.
Valeria Golino. Yeah.
See, it's the first 2/3 of this movie that I absolutely love. The ending leaves me feeling a bit unsatisfied. I know why they did it, but it always made me go, this is my melodramatic side. I would have been like, it's not the ending I would have given them.
I think it's a fitting ending. Personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's because you know what's best for the person. As much as I can be there for you, I feel like friends, I'll be there for you. As much as I'm there and I can do so much, you're in a place that has the care for you. Now, he could have just, the real wrong ending would have been just swindle him, take the money and flub off. That's not where he went. It was like, I'll be back. I'm here. Go away. Within 3 Thursdays or 3 Sundays, whatever it is, I will come back and see you. There is a lost bond. Something that was not there was built. And that's the thing.
I think they should have stuck together, given that he realized who Raymond was. I was like,
yeah,
okay, reconnected with your brother. Now chill together.
I get it. I get it. There is no right answer. I mean, it takes a lot of care. And if you feel that the right specialists are there to look after him, you can be there every day if needs be. Obviously, he's got a life on the other side of town, another state, as far as I remember. But changes can be made, but he's in the right place, and that's what I felt. It's like you could, to me, and I'm not saying you're wrong in saying this. It could have been selfish to say I'm going to be there for him because you're not giving him the chance to develop as much as he will with the right care. The mental health care team that is there. It requires a lot of. The ideal world was okay. Hire a carer to be there with him, live together. That would be the ideal world.
Yeah.
But aside from that, this was a life that this guy knew. So put him back into his comfort zone. He's been through a lot of change in that journey of this film. Let him be there, but still be a part of his life. It's the best of both worlds, personally.
I like it.
Thank you.
I like
It's very good. Very nice. No, that was a very, it's fantastic. And, all people who've not, if you haven't seen this movie, I suggest you definitely try it out. You might not like it, you might not love it, but I think it is a perfect reason why Tom Cruise is award-winning actor, and Dustin Hoffman as well.
Yes.
I'm not the biggest, hugest fan of Tom Cruise, just throwing that out there. But I don't dislike him either. There's just some of his films aren't my favorites. I can only see you get blown up so many times, Tom Cruise, before I like you even less. Okay. But as far as action-packed movies go, he does a good one. Mission Impossibles, those aren't bad movies. But this one is one this one's pretty fantastic. It was on my list for sure. Not my number one.
Number 6, yeah. Well, we know what your number one is. It was the punt from earlier, Demolition Man, right?
No.
Oh,
that's interesting. What was your number one? For Demolition Man?
No. Demolition Man was our number.
Was your
4.
number?
You punted us.
I did. It's not on my list.
AJ, Demolition Man. Back to number 4.
Yeah. So very, very quickly. Demolition Man. It's weird because was it not meant to be like Los Angeles or something like that? So it threw me off to find out Kentucky. But
Angeles.
If I have a chance to talk Demolition Man, I'm gonna talk Demolition Man. And coincidentally, we were celebrating 30 years just last week, and it got GOAT status from the Silver Screen Dudes. We are talking literally everything we talked about how the world has changed back when we were growing up to what it is now. This is it. You have got the two biggest alpha males, the biggest villain, and the macho cop, the only one who can stop him. So what do? When you cryogenically freeze the villain, you have to freeze the good guy too, because that's the only man who can stop him. And thank God they froze him, because what would the world have done if it was only Simon Phoenix out in the world that they frosted him in? The world would have been in a lot of trouble. So yes, John Spartan was the man to save the day. Oh, absolutely love a good piece of
my very favorite parts of that movie is when he talks about the shells in the bathroom. He can't figure out how to use the toilet, whatever the bidet issue. I don't know. That's one of my favorite parts of that movie. Anyway.
What I love is how he creates toilet paper by just cursing away and like, I'll be back.
So good.
I love that part. I love that. Great. And I'm sorry if I messed up the punting order thing.
It happens. But
anyway,
you'd be surprised how many times we've done it. We're like, oh, that's not on the list. Or I forgot that film. We trust me. Because what people don't understand when creating a top 10 list is there is a lot of stuff to consume, and something is on your list and then you change it for something else and you're like, oh, that's a punt. Oh no, it was my number 6, now it's my number 8. It happens all the time, so there is no need to
never just 10 movies. We have to watch at least 10 to 15 in order to make all of our lists, because we're going to watch 5 and then be like, well, you're not making the list because you suck.
Exactly.
That's right. Exactly. Well, I'm going to need you all to watch my number 1 movie, which is Coal Miner's Daughter.
I heard about this.
I'm telling you, listen, of any movie that we've talked about today, this one is in my heart more than any of them, because number 1, I met Loretta Lynn as a child. So I am from Kentucky, but for 3 years between my age of 7 and 10, my family moved to Las Vegas, Nevada. My dad became a security guard at the Riviera. And one Thanksgiving, Loretta Lynn was there, and she was doing a holiday show at the Riviera, and she met my dad as the security guy. And she said, well, honey, since you all are from the same, they were from neighboring counties. So they knew similar people. They got to talking, bring your family in. They can watch me do my practice, you know? So she allowed me to come up on stage and sing with her when I was a little girl.
Oh,
and
wow.
Her voice, the sound of her voice talking is identical to that of my grandmother, like my memory of my grandmother. So I can listen to that all day long. And she actually, for the first time ever of me knowing my grandmother going to the actual movie theater, we went to see this when I was a child. And so I was 7 years old when this movie came out. Let me just throw that out there. Okay. It was a long time ago. But it was one of those times, like, I love music. I love singers. I don't necessarily lean towards the country side of music because I am from Kentucky and I grew up on the Kentucky music highway. But it's not one of those, like, it's not my lady jam all the time. But Coal Miner's Daughter, it just is the story of how Loretta Lynn got to where she is. And if you're a biopic guy,
that's you, AJ.
Like you, AJ. It might be something like it's really interesting because you have other characters that filter in, stars of the day. And so you got a little Hank Williams in there. You've got a little, Patsy Cline. I think who plays Patsy Cline in this movie is Beverly D'Angelo. And she actually does the singing, like she's singing as Patsy Cline, and she does a phenomenal job. You can look that up on YouTube. I did the other day because I remembered it so much. She had a glittery gold dress on. I loved it. It's those childhood memories that make this, because Loretta Lynn grew up as this poor, lived up a holler. Her daddy was a coal miner. That's why it's Coal Miner's Daughter. Shocking. I know. But that's one of those movies that will always forever remind me of a time and place and my mama.
That's
or grandma.
Really sweet. I love that.
I don't know. Would you call them Granny? She was my Granny Birdie. Her name was Roberta.
Granny, grandma,
We called her
yeah.
Granny Berta or Mama. She was my Mama. And
my Mama.
She's my Mama. But this movie was one of those that I'm pretty sure maybe Sissy Spacek won some awards for this one. Tommy Lee Jones, playing her husband was fantastic as well. But that was, she got married at the age of 13. My grandmother got married at the age of 12. These are things that I'm not so far removed from this situation that didn't, it's really insane. Sure. Right?
No, it's lovely. So, it's a really nice story.
Cinderella story. It's great. And she's
very cool.
She's amazing. Anyway.
That's very, very cool.
That is really cool. That is I love it. That was such a touching story. Really, thank you for sharing that with us.
You're welcome. Yeah. Thanks for having this awesome background or your pictures match. Like, we look good together, all of us. I like it.
Cool.
We didn't even plan it or anything.
No.
In a weird world, our Rushmore's kind of made already by means of punishment.
I will let you just remind me on that. But just a quick question based on it's kind of a thing that I was just asked because, again, I didn't realize how much films were filmed in Kentucky and stuff like that. I know there's a lot from the race courses on that, but when you've seen these films, do you have this vision of recognizing the areas where they were filming it and stuff like
Especially in Elizabethtown, yes, because I went to college at the University of Kentucky and have friends from that area. So driving down through there, you can absolutely see
the landmarks that you recognize.
Absolutely, or the street names or whatever. But it's interesting. It's interesting.
Cool. Love that. Awesome.
Yeah.
AJ, have a look at the private chat, mate. The Rushmore's in there. It's basically the 4 movies that we've punted.
Cool. That's all good.
So, normally what happens, Pollyanna, when we don't punt, we then have more of a debate. But sometimes when it's but when you've got commonality, that is what goes on.
That just shows that it's meant to be in it. So yeah, we're just gonna go for it.
So it's made. Not much of a debate. But here's the Rushmore. Ladies and gentlemen, the official movie Mount Rushmore of movies filmed in Kentucky, in no particular order, is
Seabiscuit.
Our second entry is
Goldfinger.
Our third entry is
Asphalt Jungle.
our final entry into the movie Mount Rushmore of movies filmed in Kentucky is
Rain Man. I really like that list because I think it's films that people will recognize. I will be honest though, it's just not just the way it is. After hearing your coal miner's daughter story, I really wanted to put that on the list. Like had it not been for the fact that we had the 4 films in there, I would have actually gone for that. But the rules of punting have determined what it is, and I think those are recognizable films. So it's going to be a nice battle of Kentucky movies there, which is all kind of cool.
Seabiscuit's about to get killed. Just putting that out there. Pollyanna, I'll let you know when the poll goes out on Twitter, and I guess you can retweet it and stuff.
Sure.
I'll let you know when the episode's airing and stuff once we're done. But AJ, wrap it up for us.
Okay, guys. Once again, you know what to do. We have just compiled the 4 must-see movies. Now it's over to you to head on over to Twitter. Well, it's not that now. It's called X. Head on over to X, and you head on over to the official Movie Mount Rushmore, the official Silver Screen Dudes X page known as @MT Rushmore. But more importantly, you have to go to the man we're retweeting. Good old JT from We Love Movies @Movie Polls for You. That's the way. There is nowhere cheating. There is only one vote, and that's once again you will be able to vote for the 4 contenders: Seabiscuit, Goldfinger, Asphalt Jungle, and Rain Man. And you can crown El Capitan, El Numero Uno, the best of the best of the best, sir, with honors. And of course, to quote Highlander, in the end, there can be only one, and your vote will help crown the one. Yeah. You want to do the other bit?
Just before we go, Pollyanna, do you want to plug any of your shows, any of your socials? Now's the time to do it.
I would love to. Please jump on board with Buried Pleasures, and you can find me at buriedpleasures.com, Buried Pleasures on Facebook, Instagram, X, Twitter, whatever, TikTok. My TikTok's poor, but it's there. Please check me out. And, we're just talking about pleasure. I like pleasure.
As you
and so naked yourself.
Naked yourself, but Idris bollocks. That brings us to the end of that was multifaceted, that one too. That brings us to the end of of another Movie Mount Rushmore Top 10 show. Thank you so much to Pollyanna from Buried Pleasures for joining us. Thank you as always to all of you, our listeners, our viewers, for sticking with us for what has been a bit of a longer than usual episode, but it's been fun. And we will see you guys next week right here on the Silver Screen Dudes. We out. See ya.
See ya.